Mamma mia! Mamma mia!
Nope. Nope.
Mamma mia!
This episode is sponsored in part by PTZ Optics. Why hire a camera operator when the control is in your hands? Visit ptzoptics.com for more information. And by NewTek, makers of the TriCaster TC1. Stun your viewers, not your accountant. Visit newtech.com for more information.
This is Jason from Retro Gaming Asylum. Welcome to Game Masters.
Well, hello there, everybody. I am here with my partner in crime, Grandmama. Welcome.
Howdy, howdy.
Little inside joke there, but she feels
yeah,
like
we're living our best life over here.
We just want to preface this with everybody saying, hey, there's some storms rolling through our area. I know Brandy's area is getting them. In fact, we're getting like these tropical downpours. It rained for like 20 minutes and we got 3 inches of rain. No lie. Like I could show you buckets outside. It's unbelievable. So
same thing here. I don't know what it is. It must be too hot, and all of a sudden it just thunderstorm.
Yeah,
every day.
They say the humidity or whatever's doing it. So if people are seeing video getting a little degraded or whatever, don't panic. It's okay. This is a podcast. You get to hear it. You get to see it. We're going to do our best with it because we don't want to cancel it. But Brandy, coming up, you're packed, ready to go to Siege tomorrow, right? Or like early this morning, upcoming morning.
Yes. In just a few short hours. I feel like.
Yeah,
yeah.
You're going to go to bed right after the show, right?
Pretty much. And then a few short hours later, wake up, get all ready. The car is loaded up, so that's a blessing. And, definitely cannot wait. I'm really excited because this time tomorrow, hopefully I am checked into the hotel, everything's set up at the table, and I'm already hanging out with all my YouTube friends and just everyone at the convention. So hopefully, I can't wait. It'll be fun.
Well, I have a bone to pick with you, and we have to do this live because that's what feeds the drama. So everybody needs to tweet out that there's huge drama on the Game Masters, and we're only on episode 4. Huge.
Oh no.
Huge
I don't even
drama.
know about this.
It's drama.
Oh no.
Did you know that Brandy lied to you all? She lied to you. She said last week that Friday, that's it. No more Fridays. We're not doing the show anymore on Fridays.
Oh, I did. I did.
This is a joke. She's not really. And we both stated that we weren't going to do a show anymore. But you're actually going to be on vacation a little bit right after Siege, which will kind of roll into Wednesday. I think you're going to be driving back Wednesday, correct?
Yes. Wednesday or Thursday now.
Okay. So what I said to Brandy was, I said, well, don't rush back. I mean, spend the time with your family. These guys won't mind, right? And we're going to do the show on Friday night next week instead of Wednesday night. It'll probably be the last one on a Friday night for a while, but that is so Brandy, I think the official statement here is our normal podcast night is Wednesday, unless one of us is traveling or we get sick or something like that where we have to push it to a Friday. So we just want to let everybody know next week it won't be on Wednesday, it'll be on a Friday. We want Brandy to go and get recharged and have some fun with family and whatnot. And I mean, you're entitled to vacation, It's all good.
Yeah, because didn't expect it, and all this crazy stuff happened in the family, and some bad things, some other things. So it'll be nice to go to Siege, relax, get to see all my buddies, and whoever is going to Siege, let me know in the chat. In either chat, let us know. I'm definitely curious. Make sure you guys stop on over to say hi, and then on the way back, I'm gonna stop off, with my parents.
Yeah.
So
that'll be a lot
definitely
of fun.
Excited for all of that.
And she'll be picking up stuff at game stores in her travels wherever she's headed to.
Yes, and hopefully the convention, fingers crossed, find some really good stuff, and cannot wait for it.
So now that that's all out of the way, the housekeeping's out of the way, let's give a shout out to those that are in the chat rooms. Right now I have JJ over in our chat room, and my chat room over here. We got Mystically's Game Closet. We have Quentin, I think that's how you say his name, and I apologize if I screw up your name. Bono's Tecmo's here. We also have Q Thaui, or GT. Oh, I can't even read. GT Bowie, it looks like. And Glenn's Retro Show is over here. Brandy, who do you got over on your side?
There's a few I can't pronounce, so I will try my best. It's like MF Wade or something. X-Men, Shadowcat, The Intellivision Gamer, Space Ghost Gaming, Benji Games 2, Ghetto Finger Gaming, Gentleman Swag, Captain Wild Hair, Dark Penguin, Mr. Gretzky, Marbs Man, JJ, it's like spelled out JAYJ, Art Freak, and a few other people just coming on in. So definitely excited to see everyone in the chat. And people are excited. They're also going to some game stores and stuff too. So
awesome.
It's exciting for them.
Well, we really appreciate everybody tuning in, making time for us here at the Game Masters, for all the people that want to become Game Masters. We all want to be Game Masters at some point. That's why we love this hobby. Brandy and I were kicking around the idea of what to talk about this week, and there's been a lot of controversy, I think, Brandy. Would that be a good word to say? In the gaming space about some people believing retro gaming is dead.
Yeah, I mean, you see like the topics, you see the titles everywhere. People are always saying that, things aren't like how they once were. All this digital space, emulation, all this stuff just being so easy to access. And the way that, modern gaming is, it's definitely interesting, to see what people talk about.
So we want to ask you guys in the chat room right now, how do you feel? Do you feel that modern gaming has taken over, that retro gaming is not what it once was, maybe 10 years, 20 years ago, even 30 years ago? Or do you feel it's just as strong as it was, 10 years ago when you started collecting for retro gaming? Do you feel it's a waste of time? Do you feel like collecting plastic, Brandy, as we tend to refer to it, as just filling our shelves with plastic? What do you think? Do you think that we're wasting our time? Do you think that retro gaming is dead? Not to spoil the topic of our answers, but to get this discussion going.
Yeah, I mean, of course things are going to change over time. I mean, we look at the prices of everything. During the pandemic, things shot up. There used to be a time where we could get all of this stuff super cheap. And now that so many people are out there sourcing things to resell, to collect, like all of that stuff, it just, you kind of look at that and then people get discouraged. So of course there aren't going to be so many people out there hoarding things or collecting things or spending the same amount of money on this stuff. So you're going to see some people, dip out of the hobby. They're going to try and sell things. They may need the money. Things are tough, tight. This is like a crazy time that we're in. And not as many people have all this extra income. And people are, becoming more like minimalists. Or they're switching to like emulation and stuff like that. So I don't think so. Like for me and for many other people, just because of what I see when I'm out at game stores or conventions or people who comment on videos. Maybe things have like shifted in the dynamic, but I don't think that it's completely dead, and I wouldn't say that it's dead.
Yeah, I mean, so I'm probably the newbie here when it comes to collecting. So back in 2018 is when I first started collecting consoles. I was doing the home arcade stuff, but then I really, Brandy, it was like I got a few Nintendo games that were games that I played as a kid. Like most people start out their collecting habits. I bought a Nintendo, was playing with my kids and stuff. And then I just got like, man, I really want to do this. I want to collect and I want to get the systems that I never had as a kid. And I'm like, I'm paying more for this stuff now. Now this is in 2018. I'm paying more for this now than it cost when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And I know for somebody like me, you already had a lot of the stuff when you were a kid that you were able to save. I had very little because a lot of stuff was either given away or it was sold. without my knowing, or it just got thrown out or whatever. And for me, I feel like it keeps getting harder to find games. And it seems like the more the years pass, the more expensive everything gets. Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, I mean, just like everyone in the comments and stuff are over here saying, everyone's talking about, depending on like the platform, and people are talking about how modern gaming is dead. And I'm getting the same, thing the Game Closet is saying over there. Modern gaming is for the kids now, in my opinion, Gentleman Swag saying. But we have a generation that is still passing down retro gaming, and it's never going to die, especially because they're making it available for the Switch and the PS5, etc. Like, you're seeing all of these retro games remastered, remade, these revivals essentially, and they're putting them on newer consoles. So, you have people like us who are collecting original stuff, original hardware, preserving that type of stuff. And then you have other people who remember those franchises and they're getting them on like newer systems. So like, does that necessarily count as retro? And,
Yeah.
it's still kind of keeping some of that stuff alive.
I disagree that modern gaming is for kids or it's dying. I disagree, especially with the Switch 2 launch and the PS5. I feel like even as a retro gamer, I spend more time retro gaming when friends are over because we're kind of walking down that nostalgia lane. We're not pulling up the PlayStation as much unless we're playing like something new, modern, like Madden or the new college football or Mario Kart. That's been really huge since the new Mario Kart came out. More of a party game. What we've both been playing some video games this week. And we're going to get to that later in the show, but I could see for some the modern gaming has kind of moved more toward PC for a lot of people as opposed to consoles. But retro gaming, I agree. I don't think it's dead. Let me just put that out. I don't feel it's dead. I don't think retro in general is dead. I mean, I see kids going to the mall looking for records. They're buying clothes from the 80s, right? They're not, retro is far from dead. I think the big thing is retro now what it once was? Are people like, you're about the only one besides me that I know of that's not slimming down, and John Hancock and a few others, right, that aren't slimming down their collection. But there's a big wave you've seen in the collecting space that people are slimming down their collections, and they're becoming, dare I say, that dirty word that everybody in this space wants to like scream. They're becoming resellers. Those dirty resellers. What do you think?
No, I mean, I see that too. You see like all the big names like Phoenix Resale opening up a physical game store now. And he's been posting a lot of videos like, I bought a whole collection to, for the opening of my game store. I bought a whole collection here. I bought a complete Wii set. I bought a complete Wii U set. I bought a complete this. I bought more games. I need more games. Like, all these people are selling to a lot of these YouTubers, and a lot of these people are going into game stores. I see it on all my local game stores, and they're getting these big lots of like complete unboxed Super Nintendo or N64 or Genesis, and they're just seeing like massive waves of people getting out of this hobby because, like a lot of people are saying in here about like EverDrives or emulation or things like that. You could still play the games, but I have seen a big uptick in a lot of people getting out of this hobby. And I feel like that's something that we've seen come and go over the years. I mean, I haven't been doing this forever, but I've been doing this for a little while. And you kind of see like the shift going over to Pokemon stuff with like the cards and, just game stores. Now a lot of them are selling Pokemon cards, or they're doing more Pokemon and less,
like GameStop.
Yeah, exactly. And like everywhere.
Will from the podcast PlayStation Ain't Dead, he says, people are aging out as well. He's not wrong. I think there comes a point where people have invested, or they feel like they've invested into this hobby, and now they're selling it because they've found new hobbies. And listen, we are not coming against anybody that's reselling. That's not what we're saying here. We're just seeing we're talking about the trends of what we're seeing. I know we joke about the filthy resellers, the dirty resellers. There are some good ones. Daryl Best in the chat room, he's one of the good ones. My buddy William, he's a good one. There's a lot of really good resellers out there, and that's what they do for a living. But I think the question that comes up, Brandy, that I guess is going through my mind, if it keeps going the direction that it's going, are we going to see another retro gaming crash or a video game crash? Are we going to see that?
Yeah, I know, and it's crazy because when you think back to that, a time before I was alive, I remember it so vividly, though.
Do you remember it like it was yesterday?
Like it was yesterday. Back in the day.
Back in the day.
I think the problem that they had too was anyone and everyone was making games, and like with licensing and things like that, and you could have all these games just like spawned out, the quality control, things like that. Like I think there was a big time difference of like technology and things in today's time. I think if we did have something, it wouldn't be to the same extreme. Like we're not going to see all kinds of stuff just like buried out in the desert unless it's Funko Pops. But it's like we're not going to see like that type of thing. But I can see, some of the prices, and they have been just kind of not tanking completely, but definitely coming back to a more affordable price, or like something that I can justify a little bit more. I can see that. So, I mean, to the same extent of a 1980 crash, 83 crash, or like today's time, like it'll be different, I think.
Yeah, and as old as I am, I was still young. I was probably like 3 or 4 years old when that crash happened, so I didn't live through it. But a good buddy of mine, Glenn from Glenn's Retro Show, he always talked about that crash, and he believed from some of the shows you guys remember when we had him, he believed that we're headed, and he still believes that we're headed for a crash sooner rather than later. Kevin over on Facebook, he says, I don't think modern gaming is dying, but I think it's shrinking, readjusting. I spend far more on retro than modern gaming or indie development type of games. I actually buy, Brandy, a lot more. I've been finding myself buying more indie titles for like NES since they're still making them and stuff. But I'm with him on that. Some people are saying like I don't know how you say. Well, we're gonna call him Awazrim in the chat room here. He says a game crash, nah. A game cooling could be. That's where a game cooling in this sense, because a lot of people feel like, and I don't know how you feel about this, but a lot of the games I feel like are overpriced or their value is higher than what you and I really think they should be, and I think a lot of the people in the chat room would agree with that. Is that what you're referring to when you say a cooling period? Like maybe the video games come down to a price where they really should be? Is that what they're saying?
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of how I take it. So hopefully that's what he means. Just because things were so crazy. I mean, like with like COVID and pandemic prices, like things were literally out of control. Like I think a lot of people got scared then. And there were a lot of people selling even then because you were seeing like things like so many more, like just hundreds, over 200% markups, 300% markups. Like things were insane, price wise. And I think that did kind of start a shift of people like panicking and like, you know what, where does the future of this stand? Let me get out of this. So maybe that's kind of like when the time of things started shifting. Until like now, like it wasn't something abrupt or overnight. It's just this like long continual. And ever since then, people have been talking about retro gaming dying and this and that. And we've made it this many years past the pandemic. So, is it gonna die? Probably not. Is it gonna slow down or shift? Yeah, it might. But there's always going to be people interested.
So my question then comes out: Project Retro Games. He's like reading my email. No, not really. But But this is what went through my mind. For the people that say retro is dying, sell off all your retro gaming and stuff like that. He says lots of retro on modern systems. If retro was dying, Brandy,
Yeah.
then why are they bringing it out on these modern systems?
No, I mean, I agree with that because they're keeping these older franchises still alive and they're bringing back some stuff. Like, literally, when we start talking about it, like Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 and 4. I mean, they brought that back and people like me bought it. We buy the collector's edition. Marbs, man. Like, we were playing that and, like, it's just pretty insane when you think about that stuff. But, you know, I don't know. They're keeping that stuff alive. There's a demand out there, and where there's a demand, they're going to make money on it, and they're going to, do this stuff. So
one of the things that comes up, Daryl Best said it in here. He said, physical's dying. He also goes on to say, my wife is into Pokemon cards, so I've been getting into them. And I know when he actually, I bought some games off of him at one of the conventions at Pittsburgh, I believe, and he went and bought some Pokemon cards. But one of the things that, physical's dying, Nintendo has been facing a lot of backlash with the Switch 2 with the key card games, Brandy, that they brought out, because people in areas where the internet's not as fast, they can't play some of these games that are key cards where it might have taken them, 10 to 12 hours to download these 40, 50, gigabyte games where like you or I could download them in like 20 minutes to an hour. They're facing a lot of backlash that they should have just had these developers put the actual game on physical. Now, there has been talk that I've seen in Reddit forums and I've seen on the internet where Nintendo might actually be taking a step backwards and actually forcing these guys to re-release these games on actual physical cards. So that's chalk one up for the good guys here.
yeah, no, I would say so.
I hope that happens.
Because I don't know what's going to happen. We got a lot of people already talking about, like over in the chat, about things that are just going digital and how less and less physical and less this, less that. And, people do get really unhappy when you start talking about that stuff. And, especially for like hardcore collectors.
Yep.
I was watching a few videos of like unboxings and you're getting like these collector's editions with steel books and statues, but there's like no game disc. There's nothing in it.
I'm surprised you got a physical game with your Tony Hawk, you and Marbs. I watched Marbs' video, and I was surprised. Like, I thought they would have just given you like a little, code paper to punch that in, because when I got the Horizon one, there was no physical game in there. I had to physically go out and buy the physical game to put in with my Steelbook. I just got like a little piece of paper with the digital code on it.
Yeah, I think I have a few like that. There's like nothing in there at all, just like a little paper. So you have like this heavy steel book and literally nothing else. And you don't even have like manuals and stuff anymore on a lot of things. And
I know, we used to love it as a kid. We used to fight over them at breakfast time when we were kids. The fight over the manuals, because that's what we looked at when we were eating our breakfast, and then or the back of the box, the cereal box. That's what that's what kids did.
Oh yeah, we did that too. And you play all the games on there. And
Yep.
Get a cool prize. You have to fight over that too.
So we would do that, but then like if somebody got the instruction manual, because you're looking for that tidbit of information that's going to help you beat the game that you've been stuck at for days and days. One of us would get the back of the box, and you just keep reading the back of the box and be like, "Are you done with the manual yet?" No, and then you're stuck with that. One of the gentlemen in the chat room, Wazrim, if I'm saying I apologize if I'm butchering your name, but he says, we should just be glad. I think we should be happy that physical has lasted as long as it has. PC hasn't had an option for quite some time. But do you really think, on that note, Brandy, that the PC has had a cult following for collecting, like the console space has?
I feel like it's always been different. It's always been separate. People always say PC master race. Like, people are always, diehards on that. And then you have people that are always diehards on Xbox. And they're always going to be a part of that no matter what they do, Marbs. And then there's people out there that are like diehard PlayStation and they love that. And whether they've teetered back and forth between PlayStation and Xbox, or anything like that. And then you have the Nintendo fanboys. So I feel like no matter what you follow, I feel like, especially PC, like someone even in the chat was saying that they don't even have like the disk drives anymore, and
No.
you have to like buy that stuff separate. Like, I feel like PC is a different, thing of its own, and people are more okay, I guess, with, non-physical for that.
Yeah.
And
Well,
I feel like they do it more for like convenience. They do it because everything's faster, it plays better, just all that. So I
well,
don't know. It's like a whole different thing.
well, let me put this out there to everyone out there, because I myself am curious, because I am not a PC gamer. I have Steam. My kids do more on Steam than I do. I have a gaming PC, but I use it more for video and editing and different things like that. I use my Mac as well. My question: I never got into collecting for PC. I had, back in the day when I gamed, I had Duke Nukem 3D. I had Final Doom, if you remember the Doom series. We're talking, very, very early stages of, first person shooters. My question to everyone is, I didn't really collect these games.
Mhm.
Are you a PC gamer in the chat room right now? And if you are, did you collect? Like, I know Metal Jesus Rocks, he collects for PC gaming. There's different people out there that I've met on one hand, I could tell you, that collected for PC gaming. But I'm curious, because I think there's a bigger cult following on the console side than there is on the computer side, the PC side.
Yeah, I think maybe because they've kind of been a little bit more ahead of the game, I would say. Like, they definitely shifted to less physical, like way before consoles and stuff. And people just kind of accepted that hurdle when it came. And then Tim Keller saying, "Is there a double standard? I only like physical games but love digital movies." And then Skate and Bacon Media is like, "Nowadays I'm more, where can I play the physical copy of that game?" So I feel like there are a lot of people who are just, teetering back and forth due to
Yeah.
convenience, and people were talking about storage and taking up
Well,
space,
let's
and
let's talk about that on that note about what he just said.
Mhm.
I am a pure digital movie and music person. I haven't bought
Uh-huh.
a CD probably in 15 years.
Uh-huh.
Everything's MP3. Everything's I go into iTunes. I have a subscription to Apple Music. Before that, it was Spotify. Before that, it was Pandora. Right? I don't buy albums anymore. Movies the same way. I'd rather digital, because then I can get it on whatever device that I want it on.
Mhm.
So is that a double standard? I'm kind of in the same camp that he's in. Comes to my games, I want them physically. Am I a hypocrite?
And like, see, it's like weird because I teeter with that too. Okay, I had this car and it was a little yellow Dodge Neon, and I drove it to the death. It was my first car, and the poor thing was like leaking every type of fluid by the very end. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go and buy an actual car. I was like, I'm gonna buy a new car. So I go out, I find this car, test drive it, everything's great. And they're like, yeah, you could drive it right off the lot. So I grab all my CDs, I get in the car, I go to drive home, and there's no CD player. And I'm like, how could I buy a new car with no CD player? So I asked them if any of them have them, and they're like, no, they don't make those anymore. And that shock driving home was like the worst pain I ever had. I was so upset because I knew that was the day for me that physical CDs ended, physical music ended. And I eventually got over it. I have all my CDs and stuff still, that just tucked away. And then when I went to see like Metallica and stuff, I bought these tickets and they came with like, these limited edition albums and stuff like that. And it's a little heartbreaking. But then you think about it with like Netflix and Hulu and all those streaming things. You're not really pulling out your DVDs and Blu-rays. You're just kind of streaming stuff. So
Yep.
at the same time, now I'm in the same boat. Like, are we all on this double standard? Are we all part of this? How can we be picky and choosy and is that okay? And
Well,
you know,
it's funny because you're young, you're a lot younger than me, but back when I remember when I upgraded my CD player so when I first got a CD player in my first car, which was a '78 Volare. Now I was born in '79, but the car I drove when I was 16 was a '78. My grandparents gave it to me. I bought a CD player. That was the cat's me out. Most people had cassette players at the time in their cars. But you bring that up. When I upgraded my head unit, I went to MP3 on CD. Some of the people in the chat room might remember that, where everybody was like, "Wow, I can use one CD and have 300 MP3s on it. I don't have to change my disc. I just leave it in there with my favorite albums on, and you make all these mixed CDs or mixtapes, as everybody called them."
uh-huh.
And then, like you said, when I bought my truck, well, actually, I bought a car before that, but when I bought my truck, there was no DVD player, no CD player, no nothing in there, and it was just all MP3. Everything was Bluetooth, and I was like, "This is convenient." But I wonder if it's just the hardcore collectors, Brandy, that are saying, like, "What are we going to collect? We're just going to go around, buying these tchotchke signs like this, like the Wii, and remember the good old days," or we're going to go buy, like these little items that we have in the back that we sit on our shelves in our game rooms and stuff, and that's what we're going to collect, the memorabilia, if you will,
Yeah.
of the video game stuff. Like it's kind of a double standard.
I think what a lot of people are like saying now, people do have media and stuff for everything. And I do have like movies and I do have CDs and stuff. But recently, I think what it is for me is you have to prioritize what you want to collect now. If you don't have unlimited money or unlimited space in your house,
Mm.
like I want more games. So that kind of outweighs the love that I have for like those physical movies. Now I have tons of VHS tapes that I'll never get rid of. I have a bunch of DVDs that I'll never get rid of. But there's like some like Mean Girls and like horror movies and things like that like I probably should keep, but at the same time that stuff streams so regularly, and I'd rather have an entire shelf dedicated to more video games. And that's what like Marbs and everyone's saying is literally space is always the issue.
Mm-hmm.
And even like Tim and like all these other people, like they're prioritizing, I think, games over that stuff.
Well, let me ask you
So
guys that are to Brandy's point.
yeah.
Let me throw this out there. Brandy, you occasionally have family coming over. I have people over here every Saturday night, sometimes Friday nights too. We have game night. I ask myself, would I have my game room that I have now? The stuff that you see behind me, the arcade room that I have. Would I have all this stuff if I didn't have people to come over here and share it with? And I hate to say it, I probably wouldn't have as large of a collection. It would be very curated, and it would be just the stuff that I want to play. The way my collecting habits now are, I buy the stuff that, one, I didn't have as a kid, two, most people didn't have as a kid, three, things that make people go, wow, when they come over here, like, I always wanted to play this. That, to me, is the reason that I have, just about every system, and I don't know how you feel about that, but that's kind of my motivation. I love when people come over and they're just like, wow, I always wanted to play this game, and we just never had it as a kid.
Yeah, and I get like the same reaction too. Like my favorite thing is when people come over and they look at the game room, I don't want to watch the game room. I want to watch the person. So my favorite thing is seeing their reaction when they walk down and they go, "Wow, I saw a statue like that or a kiosk like that." And I saw that back in the day at Toys R Us or Funkoland or here or there. And then they go, "Oh no, I remember this snowboarding game, or I remember Tony Hawk Pro Skater." And then you just have like all these like casual gamers or people who don't necessarily play games very often, and they're reliving those memories and those moments. And that's something that I love too. And I think I would always still collect this stuff, but I think some of that stuff does, of course, like add and hype things up. I mean, we talked earlier and, like stuff like that about impulse buys and things like that when people are around. And, we've talked about that stuff. And, like, I still think I would have all of this just because this is what I enjoy. It brings me back to like those younger days. And Like just all of this. Like, did I need to buy this week? Probably not. But did I buy it? Like for the Angry Beavers? This was at the thrift store.
Does it make
This
you
is an
happy?
original plush from 2002, and it still has
Oh,
a
it still has
Nickelodeon
a
tag
tag.
on it.
Holy cow.
So like, and they had it. I think they had it for like 20. I used like a $5 off coupon, but these sell for like $50 because they're huge or more on eBay. And this is, you guys remember Norbert and Daggett or Daggert or whatever their names are
Daggett,
on
yeah.
Angry Beavers. Like, it's like a brief, distant memory in my head, but like, I remember this stuff. And like, did I need it? Probably not. Did I want it? Sure did. Did I unlock all of these, memories and stuff for me? It sure did. Did I remember like the times where me and my brother would start singing and humming along, and then we tried to like figure out where that music came from, and you just like relive those memories? Absolutely. So it's like, I feel like we would still all do this stuff, but I think sometimes other factors and people definitely you know, they add a little bit of influence to our collections as well.
Yeah, I mean, we set up our game rooms so they're functional, and we set them up for, say they look cool and stuff. But I mean, honestly, if you weren't having people come over, wouldn't the simpler way to do it rather than taking up a whole room? Especially, I have a whole finished basement. I've got 30 plus arcades over there, plus that game
Mhm.
room. Wouldn't it be easier, Brandy? For me, it'd be easier just to keep everything stacked nicely in a box of a curated
Yeah.
collection. Get it out when I want to play it, not display it. I display it because of that very thing of people coming over, and it's a whole vibe, right? You've heard that saying. You're going to hear me say that when we look at some of the game rooms that we have for tonight. There is a vibe about it. People come down here when they're in the arcade. It reminds them, because of the wood paneling in here, it reminds them of when they used to go to dive bars or things like that when they were younger. And
Mhm.
that's what I wanted it to feel like. I wanted to take them back to 1982 when they were at that dive bar or that pizza joint where they were playing Pac-Man or Miss Pac-Man.
Mhm.
When they go into the other game room, I want it to be like a cross between somebody's bedroom, but also somebody's, game store, and I think you
Mhm.
kind of hit that too, the whole game store vibe, right?
Yeah, and that's that's what like the last person, I can't even remember who it was, but like the last person that came over, it'll come back to me. But I remember them walking downstairs and they're like, "It's like a whole game store." I know it was
Right.
a video I showed at work. And it was like, "Wow, you have a whole game store in your basement." Because I showed them my recent game room tour video that I did, and they were just like, "That's your house?" And I was like, "It sure is." Like, it's just always that shock and that wow factor.
Yeah, and a Wasram, he's saying, we had game nights before I had a game room. I have a game room now, and we don't do game nights very often. LOL. No, people come
Oh,
down
no.
here, um, and it's fun to see them play. It's fun to see my kids play with their friends or other friends that come over. Something like, the Power Pad. That's a prime example, right? Playing world class track meet, or super team games, and watching them huffing and puffing as they're playing this. And I'm like, yeah, you probably never got that out of breath playing, Switch Sports or Wii Sports, right? It's that, they're like, this is a killer. They would take turns on super team games. They'd be out of breath. One person would jump off the pad and let somebody else run. That, or my son playing with the Power Glove. We all know the Power Glove is horrible. It's one of the most horrible devices, yet most sought after devices that people want in their game collection if they're a Nintendo fan. Well, my son thought it was the greatest thing in the world when I had it set up, and he was playing Mike Tyson's Punch Out, and he could sit there and go like this, and it was punching the guy. He thought it, he was 8 at the time, but he thought it was great. He thought that was, that was one of the most awesome things that he had ever seen. That to me makes it worth owning some of this stuff, right? You're laughing because it's terrible, right?
Oh, it sure is. And people do, they love that terrible stuff. Like everyone in my chat is talking about, um oh, it just went off the screen. People's excitement can really add to your enjoyment of your own collection. And then people are saying core memories are powerful. And I think all of that is like very, very true because of all this nostalgia and like just a simpler time where it brought us pure joy and we had all the time in the world to play these things. And
Yep.
I think it's great.
Mystery Encoder wants to know, did you make him watch The Wizard before letting him use the power glove? You know what? No, he's seen The Wizard though. I have that both, and I have that on DVD because I met some of the folks there, and then he's watched King of Kongs. It's got a couple autographs from those guys on there as well. But yeah, it is. It's a whole thing, man. Like, and I apologize. Dr. Scott's talking about the ads are killing the stream. That's on YouTube. Like they tell you can place it and say wherever you want, where the ads go. But it's what we're gonna do is if we end up getting sponsors, I'm gonna turn off paying sponsors. We're gonna turn off those ads so we control the ads from that point.
Yeah.
So we don't have that. And then Awazram says, I have a closet where I can put some late 80s baseball card boxes so that when I open it up, I get hit of nostalgia, like walking into the telephone pole or something. I forget what he wrote in there, but I got rid of my cards. Speaking of getting rid of some of the things, Brandy, you and I have been discussing about that.
Mm-hmm.
I had a lot of the cards from the 90s. They're worthless today unless they're graded. So I sold them off. I was like, I'd rather take the money and put it into what my hobby is now. But how many of us at the time were collecting, cards, and now we're just kind of like, it's taking up room. And my wife's like, how long are you going to leave these sit here? They're not gaining any value. I had like 6 or 7 boxes full stacked in the laundry room. And we're talking big boxes. I probably had over, 50, 60,000 cards between baseball, football, basketball, and hockey. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a bunch just sitting there. He just reminded me that I have them sitting there in the garage in one of those little storage things where I have the tools.
Get rid of them. Especially if they're from the 90s, they're just not worth anything.
Yeah, I feel like they probably aren't.
Good, because
and
they
I
were
have like a ton of
overproduced.
DVDs that I'm getting rid of too, and it's like no one even wants those. Like tons of DVDs. Like it's just so crazy on certain things that just completely tanked, from
Well,
oh man.
Well, let's get into this. What have we been playing this week? So we don't just talk about video games. Obviously, we play video games. So let's take a look at this. All right, Brandy, what are we looking at here?
So this was a live stream that I just did yesterday. I realized that in this like clip, you could hear me hysterically laughing because I was just really grinding, and I was like, I don't think I'm gonna hit 40,000 or 400,000 points. There's no way I'm gonna hit that. And then boom, 400 and some happened, and I was like, oh no, I am good at this game. And then I was just like, like hysterically laughing, like just continuously. But this is Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4. I was playing 3, and I was having a blast with it. It was just like the old days, just picking up the controller. The controls felt great. I love how it's like remastered like that. Like I just was reliving those days, and I was so much better. And for some reason, like it all just clicked back, and I'm just like hitting the pogos, and I'm just continuously manualing and like all this, and like it was so much fun. And I almost made it through like everywhere on Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3. So I'm gonna have to stream it again after Siege, so probably in like a few weeks, and do 4. So I'll have to go through that. But it was a lot of fun. Definitely a great time. Some of the same music too, and it was just going.
I would have to say, as somebody that was a skater during his teen years, I would have to say that for me and my friends, that was the Madden of the time. Like you had like the jocks, they always played the Madden and stuff, and we played Madden too. But Tony Hawk's, it was like, oh, are they gonna come out with another one? And it became a cult classic very quickly. Always loved that game.
Did.
In fact,
because
go ahead.
We had a local skate park too around us that we would always go, and we would have birthday parties and stuff at. So that was especially big around me because of that famous skate park that we have.
And one of my my pickup today, just remember Tony Hawk. That's all I'm going to say. So what I've been playing as of recent, y'all are going to be surprised by this, but I've been actually playing for the Switch 2. I've been playing Fantasy Life, and this surprisingly is a really good game. If you've heard about it, or I think honestly this is a game that's kind of like a sleeper game. If you're into like The Legend of Zelda meets Animal Crossing, this is a game for you. It really is. Like you've got the action of a battle. If you've played Pokemon games and you have to level up where certain enemies you can't beat unless you're a certain level, this is that type of game. And in this game also, you can become a different type of job, if you will. Like you could be a magician, you could be a miner, and each one of those abilities will let you get to certain areas of the game. And sometimes you have to have multiple abilities in order to get past a certain area or rescue a certain villager that's with you. And but yeah, Brandy, you get a lot of the Zelda feel. You can kind of build your own, you're working on your own island to get the villagers to help you to be like a dominant island. There's a lot of fun. It's like it reminds me of when everybody used to play Farmville and everybody would run to their computers on Facebook to play Farmville. This game made me just like, I've literally been playing this nonstop since I got it. And personally, I don't want to be like that because I'm like, there's so many other games I want to play, but this honestly, it's only a digital version. Boo. I know there is one for, if you get it from Japan or the UK, you can get that. And if you have that one, you can put it in your Switch 2 and pay $3 for the upgrade. So if you really want to go on eBay and spend $70-$80 for a non-US region game, you could throw it in your Switch 2 and you'll get it for like $3. You can get the upgrade for the Switch 2. I just grabbed the trailer here because my Switch 2 isn't set up for doing any kind of capturing right now. But yeah, I'm Brandy, I thought it was a pretty good game so far. I'm to the point where my wife has it now, and my son. So we've all been playing, and you can do multiplayer. So like if you have 4 friends, you can play online and all play together. Couch coop, I guess that's what
it looks saying. Like one of those addicting games that I'd have like on my phone or something. So
yeah, pretty much.
Definitely should stay away because I don't want to get addicted to something like that right now. I'm hooked on Tony Hawk. I don't need any distractions. I got to get through that game first.
Yeah.
But it does. It looks interesting. Like a lot of different concepts are going on. And the style, I kind of like that.
Prepare for putting a lot of time into it. It's not something that you're gonna beat in like 10 hours. I mean, I watched YouTube folks on it just to kind of wrap my head around what I'm in for. And some of these people got 80 plus hours in this game. So this is Brandy, you let Stephanie drive the Siege and you sit in the passenger seat for 8 hours and play this game. That's the type of game that this is. Literally.
I don't think that'll happen.
Well, I'm just saying that's the example that I'm going to go with that. Because it's one of those games. But don't overlook it. If you have a Switch 1 or Switch 2, I believe it's on Xbox as well. Not sure if it's on PlayStation, but I do know it's on Xbox. Take a look at it. Play it. I think you'll enjoy it. I think it's something that a lot of people overlook because they're like, I don't know. And the genre is actually role-playing / action. And I don't get into a lot of turn-by-turn role-playing games or RPGs and stuff like that, like Final Fantasy. I know, shoot me.
What was it called again?
It is called Fantasy Life.
Fantasy Life. All right, I put it in my chat for anyone asking.
So if you guys want to check it out, you'll be pleasantly surprised with that. Okay. Well, what do you think now we get into people showing their game room? We had 2 submissions, right, this week, and we want to keep that going, right?
I say we go ahead because it fits the topic. We were asking some people, if they thought retro gaming was dead, and we got a couple submissions here. So you make up the choice from that in the decision by watching these.
Hey, this is Michael Rickard from Wildcard Video Games. You are watching Game Masters on YouTube. Enjoy.
Yo, what's up, dudes? Gelfinger Gaming here. It has been quite a long time since we have let you guys check out where we're at in the game room. I have done all kinds of upgrading in here since the last time we checked this stuff out. So we'll check out this top row first. And we got all kinds of stuff in here. Here we are in our 3DO games, guys. It's, I think, 2 weeks of 3DO collecting here, which is pretty cool. And there's some more stuff up here as well. Some of the not complete, but complete in disc, so that's pretty cool. One of the newest ones we just got right there is that Night Trap, which is pretty awesome. And over here now I deployed the N64 games. Now remember, I just collect stuff kind of randomly, right? So a little bit of everywhere on this stuff. Let me jam down the Nintendo section real quick so you guys can see where we're at on that. And we keep moving on down, some more Nintendo all the way over here with GameCube taking up all the way down here. And then we got tons of SNES games right here. This is my little setup for doing shooter games right here. That's all that's for, straight shooter games. We even got some C32 in here now. You can see all my Fire and Ice game price tags. And down below is all Sega Genesis all the way across down there. But, TV's in the way, obviously. And then we got our setup over here for CD32. The beautiful crystal clear A500, which is pretty dope. We got our A600 right here as well. Another awesome item. If you don't have, definitely try to get it. And we have our Aeon Amiga 1 A1222 Plus right here, which is my daily driver. And then we have some more big box stuff up here, which is not even all of it, guys. There's stuff all over my house pretty much. And then here we go. We're only 2 away from this, guys. I need a teal one and the Pokemon light, and then we'll have all the lights collected. So we need 2 more. So we're hunting those down, which I think they're over at the booter for me, so I'll have to get down there on Monday to drop off this 3DO. And then here is my Switch collection, which is pretty extensive now. I definitely hit the Switch pretty hard. Definitely hit the Switch pretty hard. One of my favorite gun games right there, Lethal Enforcer. We got Commodore down here. Then over here we have the Amiga 2000 you guys saw me repair. That's deployed. And then this is my madness right here. We got some coffee going this morning. My little soldering station stuff when I need to. But yeah, this is my main PC desk, which is pretty much always a freaking mess. But, here soon I'll have the live stream going. I'm working on it today. Just waiting on 2 little cables. I don't like stuff all crazy, so I'm waiting on these little 1-inch HDMI cables to run. From here we got the HD60 going. We got the RetroTink 5X. So this will be the spot here where you guys can catch some of the live gaming that's coming pretty soon. And I got all these things out now, which I think just look freaking bomb in here. I totally love them. I want a couple more, so I'm kind of keeping my eye out for these. I'd like to fill this whole wall if possible with all of these.
Hey, no, so everyone is flipping out in the chat, saying all of that 3DO games. Just seeing all of that.
He's got more than I do with 3DO.
It was nice. It was nice seeing all of that. People are also saying it was nice to see Master System. So, I mean, you guys let us know. Do you think retro gaming is dead when you see rooms like this? I mean, I don't think so.
He had DVDs too.
Still people collecting, still getting all that. And that was, a crazy game room and just insane to see.
that's why we're putting it out there. And we have another game room we're going to show you here in just a little bit, but that's why we're putting it out there to everyone. If you've got a game room, I don't care how big it is. I don't care if it's a game shelf. Show us why you really like your space. What is so important? Because I know you could come in my game room and be like, why do you have these games? And some of them I could probably tell you a story about why I have them, and you're like, okay, I understand why you have them, because the nostalgia it brings to me. Maybe they're, the stuff me and my brother played. So send us in. We want to show this. This is a segment we want to do on every show. I love seeing them. I don't know how you feel.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, it gives me ideas. Not that I can really fit much more, but
I was gonna say, where are you gonna put it? In the kitchen?
When I win the lottery that I never play,
Oh.
and I have this bigger house one day, or I have like multiple she sheds or something, one day, I hope. But it is really cool because anyone can have games. Anyone can just have stuff.
Right.
But it's kind of like the personality and the pride. It really shows when someone decorates or kind of sets things up in a certain way. And that's what I love seeing. Like, I think that's like the coolest thing.
And that's leading into our next game room that we have from our buddy Mysticles in the chat room here. One of the viewers also has a YouTube channel. The vibe. You heard me talk about the vibe. There's a really cool vibe. I love the way he has it set up. You're going to see it here in a second, how he has it set up for streaming. Everything just looks very, very well done and uniform. It's not just thrown together. Well, take a look.
What's up, everybody? Mysticles here, and I'm going to give you a quick tour of my game room. So I got this little wall right where you walk in, showing off some of my posters and stuff, and some go-to controllers, some of my Steelbook stuff.
Officially died.
Hang on. Yeah, I just killed retro gaming. You probably heard it, but for some reason it wasn't playing. Let me quick change something here. Hang on. We're gonna play it. No, Mysticles. I encoded it. Here we go. We're gonna take you to it right now. Here.
What's up, everybody? Mysticles here, and I'm going to give you a quick tour of my game room. So I got this little wall right where you walk in, showing off some of my posters and stuff, and some go-to controllers, some of my Steelbook stuff, and this year, my two favorite copies of NBA Jam, signed by Tim Kitzero, Dark Wizard Sega CD, signed by John Hancock, because it's also one of his favorite Sega CD games. Coming soon, Mortal Kombat 2 poster, signed by Paul Namir. Dragon Quest original advertisement, Super Dodgeball original advertisement. There's some different, signed stuff and original advertisement stuff. I got my little magazine rack. And here's where I keep all my different strategy guides, some fishing controllers, gaming magazines, different things I swap out with the magazine rack. These are most of my CIB consoles right here. I don't have a crazy amount, but I'm proud of what I got for sure. This is kind of what I consider my HD side of the room, even though I got a few retro consoles over there. This is where we stream and everything. You see the monitor over there, microphones, sound mixer. We use Windows 7 PC, 360, Wii U, Xbox One, Switch, Dreamcast, PS4, GameCube, Sega CD, Genesis, Retron 5, and the PS3, all hooked up at once over here. 55-inch TV with reactive lights on the ceiling, and sound and light reactive lights on the back of the TV too. Here's one thing that's pretty cool, a different set I've been working on for a while. My video game Superstar Series toys. Got about 6 of them or so. I don't see them very often. It's a pretty cool little toy set. I don't collect any other toys other than these ones right here, so that's one of my, cooler pieces, I'd say. So this is where we play most of the retro games in the room. You see we got 2 CRTs right there, 27-inch Trinitron, 37-inch JVC, both like 2006, 2007, great TVs. The monitor on the left is a different computer used for retro game capture. The monitor in the front goes to my main computer and another place where I do, podcasts and different streams and stuff like that. And we got what we got over here: 64, Super, PS2, which is also PS1, NES, Saturn. And I had a Wii over here too, but my son made me bring that downstairs. So, and on this TV, you also got a separate PS2 because we hook it up to the other one for System Link Time Crisis. And below that, you got the 2600. So, yep. Now people get some fun little knickknacks. And my record players and little Sonic toys. The Resident Evil Sand Globe, Resident Evil 5 Sand Globe, Super Dusty, Resident Evil Chainsaw Controller. My brother-in-law gave that to me. And fun fact, like, those were all like custom hand painted and the fingerprints and everything. So they're all, you know what I mean, they're all kind of unique. Sonic games, some Pokemon games, some of my NES games, some more NES games, 2600 games and manuals. Oh, various games over here. This is my little display case. Somebody else was throwing this out and I kind of took it and modified it. You know what I mean? I got all my light guns on top here. It was a fun little project. And I switch it out. Like right now it's Shenmue and Zelda. Like sometimes it'll be Resident Evil. You know what I mean? Like I switched it out with different things. And this is another game stand right here. And you got Saturn, Dreamcast, CD, Genesis, Master, Game Gear, PS2. It's kind of dark because I have the lights on down here. 360, PS1, like 64. It's a tight space. I've actually gotten rid of a lot of games. I used to have more like 1,500 games, and I've downsized quite a bit to like probably like 700 or so now. So really trying to curate, you know what I mean? Just curate what I'm getting into and everything. There's some games that I haven't even processed yet into the collection. Sneak peek. Charizard, you know, hanging out with the card. But yeah, that's pretty much in a nutshell. My game room. Like I said before, all the game capture on both sides also gets piped to the main computer in the other room where I do most of the editing. And hey, buddy, are you ready to play in the game room?
Yeah.
What do you want to play?
I love it how the little guy comes in at the end and all of a sudden the camera shuts off. But no, and awesome game room. Brandy, I think Mysticles, I think he made a lot of those shelves, and he can tell us in the chat room. He might have mentioned that in there, and I just forgot when I watched it earlier. But I believe he made a lot of those shelves so they're all custom for his game room specifically. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's great seeing that stuff. A lot of like heavy titles in there, and just seeing like tons of cool stuff. I love like the lighting, the style, like. Everyone's game room is just a little bit different. And it's like, even though you're seeing some of like the same stuff, it's really not. It's like, it's all different. It's all unique. It's all like a little cool to see, and it's nice. So seeing Mysticles and then seeing, Ghetto Finger Gaming, both their game rooms, just amazing stuff. And we want to see more. So make sure you guys send us some stuff.
Yeah, send them in.
Because that's always something cool to see. It's always neat.
And it's okay to say on the video, like before you sign off, say, hey, if you have a YouTube channel, tell people where they can find you. It's okay. We're okay with that. Like you're not gonna get you're not gonna get that cut off. We want to make sure that you guys, it's a community show after all. He did verify, Brandy, that he made a lot of those shelves. That's what I thought. But did you catch in the video where he talked about curation of his collection? He used to have 1,500 games, and he's dialed it back now to 7. I believe he said 700 or 750. But they're top-notch games. They're not just like filler. And I almost feel like, going along with our topic, I almost feel like a lot of people are doing that as of late.
Yeah, and I definitely see that too. Like, people are going through and they're like, do I need 37 copies of Madden or do I just really want like these games that I'm going to play?
Right.
So, and I see that too. And I do like how people are like curating stuff because it's really honing into what they enjoy and not something that they just like, just had and they just kind of like throw it. Like if someone comes around my game rooms or like even my upstairs toy room, if people point out things, I can tell you a story on how I picked it up, how I find it interesting, and like if I played it. And, same with like the toys and stuff. Did I grow up with this stuff? And like what memories do I have with it? Or even just like the crazy journeys that I go on. Y'all know some crazy stories of how I find this stuff. But it's like, where did I get this crazy cool stuff at? And
Right.
like where did I end up?
Exactly. And so that's why we want to hear it from you. Like if you have a specific item in your collection, and I know 2 minutes is not a long time, but you know what? Everybody's seeing games on a shelf. We'd love to see, we want to see the vibe. I guess that's a good way to put it. The vibe of your room, how you have it decorated. A lot of people said, man, I've gotten great ideas from this. So, I don't know. You guys tell us in the chat room. Do you like this segment that we're doing here with Show Us Your Game Room? I enjoy it. I love seeing it personally. That's me. And I know you enjoy it, right? So
Yeah, I think the consensus over here is that people love it. Like, they're saying Mystically's, Shenmue stuff is always impressive. Just, like everyone's saying great things as they're going around, like watching and looking at the games and the different systems. Like people are pointing it out over here. So
that's awesome.
I think people are enjoying that. They're getting ideas and,
All right. So moving right along, we want to keep these guys moving. So let's talk a little bit about our pickups. There's not a lot of pickups this week because Brandy hasn't gone to the convention yet, but I do have one I want to kind of show. So let's take a look.
Hi, this is William Jackson from Millennium Flashbacks. You're watching the Game Masters on YouTube.
All right. So here we are. This is my pickup. Remember I talked about Tony Hawk? This is sealed. I got this for $10 for the N-Gage. This is a Tony Hawk Pro Skater for the N-Gage. And from my understanding, Brandy, this game is a little bit different than a lot of the other games that have been out for it. And then I got Sonic. I have two other ones that I got. This N-Gage, if anybody hasn't seen this, back in the day of cell phones, right? I had gotten this. I didn't pick this up this week. The N-Gage. I just got the Tony Hawk. This N-Gage here was sold to me by Mike Rickard. You guys saw him, Wildcard Video Games in the beginning, and he didn't know if it worked, and he was like, "Well, you like handhelds and stuff," so he sold it to me. I put a new battery in it. I bought a new power cable, and this puppy works as good as the day it was, it was out, minus the cell phone piece of it. But it's always a cool item to talk about, Brandy, in the collection. Like this is how we gamed back in the day. We had an N-Gage or something like that, or played snakes on a flip phone from Nokia, right? Like, did you ever have one of these? These N-Gages?
I did not. Yeah, I did not back in the day. I actually have like a cool, weird promotional piece that's kind of like a little odd for the N-Gage.
Oh yeah.
So at some point, you guys will have to go look that up because it is a little like weird, like the phrasing on it. They tried to like go for something, and it totally it was a miss, I will say. But that's still one system that has eluded me. And I'd love to find one and get a good deal on it, and find some more games and stuff for it.
Yeah, I think that was the big thing was trying to find games for this that aren't overly expensive. Sorry, I was trying to go into Sonic so you guys could see, because I don't know. I'm debating, should I open up the Tony Hawk, because the N-Gage, I believe you're not even allowed to have these at conventions, from what I understand, because there's something that you can do to these now that basically allows you to steal data from people at a convention. I don't know all the details on that. You'll have to go online and look it up. But I just wanted to kind of show you guys what it looked like. Yeah, isn't that crazy that you could... I believe they're banned from conventions. And somebody in the chat room might be able to tell us the information on that. They might already know. But I don't know. I thought this was a little cool piece to put into the collection, especially with having the sealed game. What do you think, Brandy? Should I open the game
No.
up, or should I keep it sealed?
Keep it sealed because you'll always be able to find another open one
Good call.
at some point.
One other
One
thing I wanted to show. I don't know if you resubscribed to this, but I did. They did the Kickstarter for the Game Informer. If you guys remember, this used to be the magazine that you got from GameStop. Well, it's actually a lot better. They started doing the glossy covers on this, but this is brand new. I know Jay Squarepegs, him and I were chatting on Facebook about this. Like, we both subscribed to it, digital and physical. Got to have my digital and physical magazines. I put them on my iPad. That's how I read them. But these I like to put on the shelf. So if you're looking for video game magazines, which are few and far between anymore, this is one that I subscribe to. They are not a sponsor. I actually paid for this. They are, as well as these guys. Old School Gamer Magazine is another one that I subscribe to. Brandy, have you ever heard of these guys?
Yes, I have. I just don't own any just yet.
So if you want some US-based gaming magazines, Old School Gamer Magazine is one that you can do and check it out, whether you're into home arcade, whether you're into consoles, retro gaming, because, retro is dead after all. Why would you want one of these retro magazines? These are some of the few magazines that are available that you can get to add to your collection or just have in your game room where people can, check out the games and again, sit in your game room, check out a magazine. What do you think, Brandy?
No, I agree. I think it takes you back to a simpler day, simpler time. I'm all for it.
That's what we like to do. We always like to sit in the game room and just chill and look it up, our favorite game, and see what the cheat is inside of there. Steps Gaming says, I've never heard of the N-Gage in the chat room. It's basically...
yeah, it was a weird one.
It was a cell phone. Essentially, that's what it was.
Mm-hmm.
So, he wants Tony Hawk for our zone. Sorry, I was reading the comments there. So, I don't know. I think that's... from what I've seen, a lot of people are actively collecting for the N-Gage because it's hard to find. So I don't know. I don't know if that's true. You said you have a piece for the N-Gage collection. Are they just hard?
Yeah,
to
it's
find?
like a little like a promo card.
Okay.
Piece for it, and it's super odd. I went into a game store in Virginia, and they were like, "Hey, we got a whole lot of these." And let me find the exact verbiage so that I don't. It says, "Are you ready to have a threesome in the back of a cab?"
Oh my! That's why you were laughing about it.
That's like the picture of it. Oh, it's a little hard to see.
Well, our G rating just went to PG.
I took a picture. I don't know if it'll focus, but it's pretty much, it's just a little tiny card stock, and that's what it says. So I think they missed the boat when they were trying to advertise that.
Yeah,
but I do. On the other side, it says N-Gage.
I agree. That's probably not. Nintendo used to do a lot of risque stuff like that, as did Sega. So
they did.
Yeah, that's kind of.
It's not completely odd. I still one of the weirdest ones I think for me for Nintendo was the ferret down the pants. It was Game Boy is more fun than a ferret down the pants or something weird like that. There's a lot of odd advertising that you think in today's time, and you're just like, what were they thinking? Who thought of that?
Yeah. I'm not too big. I'm not too big on that. I think back in the day when they used to have my mom would yell because she'd find the Game Pro magazine with this bikini babe next to a arcade, and she's like, "What are you looking at?" I'm like, "It's a video game magazine." You're like, "Sure it is." That's what she would say. Chase
Yeah,
Chase on says
Kari
that's
was
hilarious.
big on that stuff too.
All right, we have a little bit of news. We're not going to spend a lot of time on this before we wrap up, so check it. All right. Now that we've got that out of the way, hopefully that didn't blow anybody's ears out. Brand new bumpers we got made this week. I got them done. We're still working on it. But Brandy, I want to show this piece here once I get it pulled up. Since the Switch is brand new, the Switch 2, there was an update that came out yesterday. The update 20.2.0 is live, but they didn't really do much to it.
Wow.
All they did was start banning people, banning people with used games. Did you hear about that?
Oh no.
So if you go to, apparently there's a key signature with the games that you go to GameStop and you purchase, and if it puts like an impression. You know, I'm trying to do it in layman's terms so everybody understands. So if it senses that it's on one system, it thinks that that you're pirating it or something else. When they, a lot of people, what they'll do is they'll buy it, they'll dump it to their MIG switch, which is their hackable SD card that they can put in a Switch 1, and then they'll take the game back to the store. So then what happens is once the MIG switch gets recognized in the data system, it bans the game. So when you get that game, guess what happens?
Oh no.
Yeah, it bans your system because they think you're pirating the game. So
Gee.
I'm wondering if some of this stuff was, because I thought it was funny that came out a day or two before this patch update came out, and it's like it's not a major patch update, it's like a .2. So I'm wondering if Nintendo kind of patched it quietly so that when people buy used games at GameStop, that it doesn't brick their systems.
Jeez, that would be terrible. You get this system and then that happened. Like that would be terrible. I'd be pretty upset.
Well, that's why we're all telling people. I'm sure everybody in the chat room has been telling people, do not buy the Switch 2 used. Do not buy it open box. Do not buy anything like that, because you could end up getting a Switch 2 that is blacklisted or banned or anything like that. So Chasen RG says, did you hear the rumor news at the Tech Buzz Gaming? He changed his mind and is coming to Siege this weekend. Woohoo.
Woo!
I really wish I had I was able to come. Even despite not coming as a guest or whatever, didn't really care. It was the fact that it just didn't work out with my schedule to be able to come. I would have loved to come. Brandy and I, we talked about it. If it would have been at all possible, I would have definitely come out. But the big news also, you all going to Siege tomorrow. I'm going to be playing Donkey Kong Bonanza. That goes on sale tomorrow. I'm really looking forward to this game. I wish it was. I honestly, Brandy, I wish this was launch title. From the makers of Super Mario Odyssey. I'm gonna pull this up here to see if we can't play the clip of it. I hope this isn't overhyped. I hope it's not like Brotherhood from anybody ever play Mario Luigi Brotherhood? It's got to be one of the worst games. Overhyped, bad games. What does everybody think? And did you pre-order the amiibo as well?
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely curious to see how it'll be. Because eventually, when I do get the Switch 2, I will get this game.
You're almost there, aren't you? I'm almost.
I know.
Anticipating you coming home from Siege, being like, "Okay, I broke down. I bought a Switch 2.
I bought too much. I have a problem." Then we'll be doing an intervention.
Well, not that you're buying it from a scalper at Siege. I'm talking about you're gonna I was at Target and I walked in and they had a Switch 2, or I was at this game store.
It practically fell into my hands.
It fell into my hands, and Stephanie said,
and
"Go ahead."
My card just swiped automatically. I hate it when that happens.
One of these days, guys, she's gonna come on the show and she's gonna be like, "Guess what I got?" But no, this looks really fun. my brother was actually interested. He was a big Donkey Kong Country fan back in the day, and I know for me, I didn't play a lot of Donkey Kong Country. I was kind of moving over to Sega Camp at that time,
Hmm.
and but I started getting into Donkey Kong Country when they started doing the remakes on Wii U when I had that and stuff, and I even have them for the Switch. So I'm very interested in this. But that comes out tomorrow. Your Amiibo, if you didn't pre-order, you can pick them up tomorrow. And outside of that, I think the other big news article was that Microsoft laid off like 8,000 workers.
Jeez.
So they said, oh, we're not gonna continue developing. We're stopping development on certain games, and people are furious. Marbs has got to be losing his mind right now.
I know it's probably crazy. Like, oh, I can't even imagine if you're like into Xbox and that's like, oh, it has to be heartbreaking.
Jason RRG says, I did not know about the Amiibo. You could still pre-order it. If you didn't know about the Amiibo, go get the Amiibo. My son, I pre-ordered 2. My son's going to open his. I'm going to keep mine boxed. Yeah, Donkey Kong Country's the jam. Now he wants to start collecting Amiibo. You have an Amiibo collection, don't you, Brandy?
Yeah, I have I don't have like the newest couple waves, but I do have like every single Amiibo from like the beginning up until a certain point.
Of course you do.
And then it got to be like a little crazy. So
now I got to ask you,
I'll eventually get called up.
Do you have more than LL Cool games?
I would think so.
Okay.
Just because I have like every
She has a lot.
original wave, and I have like First Prince and stuff too.
Oh, I
like,
don't know what she
that
has.
they had on the boxes.
Okay.
And mine are all sealed.
Oh, dang. My son has. So he started collecting the Amiibos back when I think he's got starting from when Mario was in the tuxedo or Bowser was in the tuxedo and Mario was in the tuxedo, the white tuxedos and the princess and stuff. But his are all open. Then they're up on you guys will see it in the game room tour. Which hopefully tomorrow or Friday I'm going to get finished and edited and get it uploaded. I've been putting a lot of time into it. So hopefully by then, we got that coming up. But yeah, it's storming really bad where you're at. I thought I heard thunder come through.
Oh, it is. The rain and the thunder and the lightning. Like, I see it all right outside, and
you didn't lose power.
I'm a little bit nervous. So.
Well, we're about at the end here.
I don't want that to happen.
RNG Gamer over on Instagram, just in case he's still around. He asked, I'm assuming he's talking to you. He said, why aren't you on your way to Siege?
Because I'm here. I'm here, everyone. I am here for y'all. And then I will be at Siege.
GSpend33 on Instagram also says it's thundering over here too. And Project Retro Games says Retro needs preservation. That's my duty. Project Retro Games, if you haven't checked him out, he was in the chat room earlier. He was also bouncing around over here on Instagram Live, where we're trying to do. Pretty soon we're going to be live on TikTok within the next week or two.
Yeah.
That's the goal. I'm going to have it up on my TikTok for people. But Project Retro Games, if you haven't checked him out, go check out his website or check him out. The best thing to do is I would tell you, go to his Instagram. If you want to play some of the games that are too expensive and you're not really a collector, but maybe you are, and you don't care if it looks, it's a repro and it looks exactly like the original plays. Sometimes he has upgraded graphics, upgraded soundtracks. Go check him out. He's got good prices on stuff. You can't be. I got a bunch of some of his games that I just don't have a couple $1,000s to buy that specific game, and he has it with Project Retro Games. So I encourage anybody, if you're looking at it, looking into it, check it out. Chase RRG says Rally Retro Gamers is trying to send the Bolo on the House of the Dead on Sega Saturn. Help us locate one for Gamer Ahmer. Are you looking for House of the Dead?
I am. So let's hope I come back with some amazing stuff, and we shall see. I have a bunch of stuff that I'm hoping to either like trade or sell towards it. So to answer the question for someone, my collection of video games, do you go to conventions with a certain budget? I try to always keep something in mind. Now there are like exceptions.
Whoa, I heard that. Did you guys hear that thunder?
Yeah,
That was on.
it's pretty crazy. That's a sign. That's a sign.
That's at your house. So if she vanishes, go ahead, answer your question. We're gonna wrap it up shortly here.
No, I mean pretty much you try to stick to some sort of budget. Um oh look, we got Chase in my chat over here.
I ran
Jason
over.
RRG $4.99 sent the chat. Riley Retro Gamers is trying to send the bolo on House of the Dead on Sega Saturn. Help us locate one for Gamer Aimer. So
Nice.
that came on through. So I definitely appreciate that.
Well, I wanted, yeah, I think people sometimes think we're kidding. Like when Gamer Aimer's quality gets bad, you know that there's storms in the atmosphere. That's why, like right now, I'm just getting rain. I'm getting a lot of rain in my area, and it's kind of since the start of the show, it's kind of going around us, either south or north of us, which is fine by me. But I told Brandy, I says, I don't know. I said, hopefully we don't lose any power. I'll be good to go tonight. And now you're in that situation where the storms are over by you now.
I'm like right in the heart of it too. I hear it. Like it sounds pretty bad. I'm gonna have to check on the game room right after this and hope there's not a mess.
We're gonna wrap this up. This week, like I said, tune in next Friday. We're gonna be live on the same channels. But Brandy, do you have any videos coming out this week while you're at Siege? Anything that you have preloaded in the queue?
No, I'm terrible at that. I just posted an N64 Japanese set pickup, and I found an Australian variant that I didn't know. So make sure you guys check out that video. I just posted it yesterday, I think. And then obviously the game room tour. Make sure you guys check that out. And then I'm sure I'll get a ton of stuff together at the convention, whether it's Sega Saturn, Super Nintendo, GameCube. I mean, I don't even know what's gonna find me yet. So hopefully it's not my entire basement is destroyed and I have 10 inches of water and now I must give up the entire collection. Hopefully it's nothing crazy like that,
No, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. Guys in the chat room, we appreciate it. I should have, hopefully tomorrow or Friday, if not by Monday morning, I should have the game room tour. This one I took a lot of time. My daughter helped film it.
Nice.
We're taking a lot of time to do this, so it looks good and stuff. We'll have that up for you guys. And you have till next Friday to get your game room submissions in. Send them in. We still want to do a giveaway with that. As we'll let the community decide who has the best game room that's showed it so far. Not to put anybody down. It's not why we're doing it, but just what they like. They enjoyed it. It might be one of the simpler game rooms, and they might say, well, we liked it because there was a lot of stories involved with it. So send it in, and I'm sure you're going to have some footage to show us next week from Siege, as well as other things, right?
Oh, I can't wait. Yeah, I can't wait. Everyone in the chat is already hyped for Siege. Everyone's excited to see everyone. So I cannot wait. I'll see everyone tomorrow or Friday, Saturday, whenever. Just if you guys see me, say hi, stop over at the booth. I'll have like free pins and merch and stuff. And then I'll also be selling some like perler bead art that I made and some other like duplicates and like little odds and ends here and there. So definitely stop on by, say hi. Can't wait. Can't wait to see everyone.
And really quick, make sure you go over to the YouTube channel besides ours. Obviously, subscribe to our channels, Gamer Aimer and the Tech Buzz. But go over to the Game Masters and give us a subscribe on there so we can start streaming on that. We have to hit so many subscribers or they won't let us stream on it because their YouTube is weird like that. But if you want to listen to us and you want to catch up, this is your first show, you can find us on iTunes. If you go to podbean.com/thegamemasters, you'll find access to pretty much everywhere. Spotify, if that's how you want to listen to the podcast. You can listen to this on your way to Siege tomorrow. Listen to the 2 back episodes that you missed because this is your first episode that you saw. So we now have that up as well. And guys, we'll see you guys next Friday for more of the Game Master.